Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, 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 and welcome, boys and girls, to the 236th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. But more on those guys and girls later. I'm extremely humble host Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, my podcast ride or die. She's suffering a little headache at the moment, so listeners, go easy. The energy is high and the jokes have been flying, though. You find her on dem socials at Miss Allie Hart. What's going on, Miss Allie Hart? I probably should talk a little bit quieter because I was a bit loud then, so sorry.
The little soft noises, no bright lights, all the wonderful things that seem to be triggering my headaches lately. The joys of being old. I feel like every episode I complain about something that's about getting old and being broken and sore and everything.
Yeah, I have these constant moments of realization as well that mid-30s is approaching and it's scary, and you know, the random pains in the body that you've never experienced before, or the random like grey hairs, or just the random hairs that just pop up in parts of your body where you've never had hairs before. You're like, man, I am getting old when this is starting to go down. So
it's hard for me to keep track though sometimes, because luckily for me, I'm probably actually the fittest I've ever been right now. So when I'm sore, it's usually for a good reason.
Yeah.
Just due to heavy lifting. But, I mean, no one wants a sore back.
No.
And I feel like that's my life 24/7.
No, and we've only got one back. You know, you got to look after your back. You ruin your back. You're in a world of hurt for many years until we get crazy synthetics and stuff like that. You can get,
turn into androids.
Yeah, you can get your knee recos and your elbows and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think they've successfully made a replacement back yet. Like discs and things, yeah, but like a whole like metallic spine. Can you imagine stuff like that? Like I've seen it in many movies, but nothing realized in modern day science that I'm aware of. I could be wrong, but But we're here, 236th episode of the Hungry Games podcast, which is crazy, crawling our way to 250. By God, that's a big number. But Miss Hart, what have you been doing? I see you've actually been playing some games this week. I know you were off the grid last week. Put the control and the keyboard down for a while, and you're back.
I just realized this is like the worst like transition because I finally played Doom, right? The first Doom all those years ago when it was released, an epic soundtrack, great graphics. It was a great homage to like OG, and just seeing like it reimagined into the new age, it looked fantastic. And as someone who used to play Doom on PC way back when as a kid, I was like, I really need to play it. So I finally did, and it's so great. It is such an awesome game. Like, I love how fast paced it is. I love the gore, I love the violence. I just love how no BS it is. The only problem is it is so smooth and it is so fast. I get motion sickness. I literally got like dizzy playing Doom. So I actually had to kind of take a step back, drink some water, cool down a little. Oh my God, I'm sounding horrible.
You might be as fit as you've ever been, but it feels like the old grey matter is as old as it's ever been, or something.
The brain muscle ain't working anymore. Lift heavy things, but by golly, that's all I'm going to be able to do.
But if you're throwing something on my screen, make sure it's kind of slow.
Yeah, slow it down.
Yep.
Light colours, please. Easygoing, relaxing music. Throw a little lo-fi on there. But no, the music is really cool.
It's so good. Mick
the
Taylor,
metalhead in me can't deny that.
Just shredding the entire time. And I'm excited for you to play Doom Eternal whenever you get around to that.
Yes,
because it's even faster.
I played Doom.
It's faster because there's like a grapple claw that you can sort of traverse and swing around with, and
I think I've seen people play that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fast. So hopefully by then you've trained your body to get used to the Doom speed, and you no longer get a bit of motion sickness because they're such good games. They're so good.
I have to figure this out because I remember way back when playing Squadrons, I had to confess that I loved playing it, but I was getting motion sickness there, and like a lot of people on Twitter actually got back to me, kind of like going through like what could be causing it, ways to kind of fix it, and a lot of it, a lot of people mention is like your field of view, sometimes just changing like the depth.
Yeah.
So
which
I'll
really
probably
helps.
have to see. I'll have to see with Doom because I really enjoyed it. It's really freaking awesome. It is everything that Outriders isn't to me at the moment. So fast paced, great action, just gory, full frontal. I love the chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
I have to say though, first map I found all the collectibles in Doom, and then I was like, oh no, there's collectibles. So now I'm not going to just run through a map. Now I'm gonna have to find all the collectibles. And
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like you'll be going off the beaten track trying to fill those lists up. So your playtime could be very, very high compared to just a normal run that just grabs what they see on the way through. So, but it's so good. So good. The Doomslayer is just a legend, and Mick Gordon, not Mick Taylor. I don't know why I said Mick Taylor. I think Mick Taylor is the killer from Wolf Creek, right? That's his name, Mick Taylor.
I haven't seen
I think.
Wolf Creek.
So Jeff Jarrett, the wrestler,
Jeff Jarrett. Wasn't
Jeff
he
Jarrett's
a
the
person who
wrestler.
used to do ads on the TV?
Jeff Jantz, the chef. Oh no, I'm thinking Tim Shaw from Demtel. We are down a very bizarre tangented rabbit hole right now. Someone Jarrett played Mick Taylor, who was the killer from Wolf Creek, but Mick Gordon is the composer for Doom and Doom Eternal.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. And the Ancient Gods, like the second part of that 2-part DLC dropped last month. So there's a good amount of DLC there available that sort of is there for whenever you get around to playing Doom Eternal and living more of that Doomslayer life.
Once again, I'm going to put it out there to the universe and just ask people, has anyone experienced motion sickness with Doom? Because I really do want to play it. I'm really enjoying it. If you have any tips, tricks, or maybe something that can fix it or help me out, I'm all ears. So let me know.
I've played it, but I have not experienced it. But yeah, maybe just changing the depth, the field of view, the overall game depth could hopefully lessen that, and especially even changing adjusting the smoothing levels could change as well, make it a little bit more rigid. But I don't know. Hopefully you can work through it because they're so good. They're such good games.
So good. I had no doubt, but yeah, it's just good to finally get to play it.
Yeah. You're only 5 years late? I think it was 2016. I think was Doom, and then 2020 was Doom Eternal. So you're there. Always late, but worth the wait. That's okay. You're never late, actually. That's a lie. You're on time to a fault, to a T. You are so punctual.
To a fault.
Bad word choice. Bad word choice. No, you're the most punctual person I think I know, and it's a positive trait. When a lot of the people in our circle are very, very fast and loose with scheduling and time commitments, you are the beacon of hope amongst us all.
Yeah, but some people hate that stuff because if you tell me 9, I'm there 5 minutes before 9, and Lord knows that if you're not there by 9,
you're like, it's 9:01.
Bitch, I thought we said 9.
Yeah, no, which is fair. Yeah, which is fair. And you've also been playing the Oregon Trail. Yeah,
so a game that's pretty I feel like American kids growing up, they talk about it a lot. It's some kind of educational game that kids in American schools play. I never played it. Had you played it before?
I've never heard of it until just now.
Yeah, so it's I've seen it referenced in pop culture a lot. It was a very old game. I believe it was a text-based game, but a company, Gameloft, has like brought it now to the Apple Arcade, and the graphics are done. They actually had a disclaimer at the start where they also mentioned that in the original game, Native Americans weren't really represented it in a positive light, so they themselves actually exclusively went out there and made an effort to have Native Americans represented in a positive way in this game. And I've never played it. My husband was very familiar with it, so it was very fun having him getting to play this new experience while teaching me and taking me through it for the first time. And it's a fun game. Like, you're a bunch of people that are traveling to Oregon, but I don't know what the time period is.
The game itself came out in 1971 originally.
There you go.
And as far as the time period, I'm assuming it's like the 1800s maybe?
It's essentially when they've been like colonizing America.
Yeah.
But you and so you have like four characters which you select, and then you're taking them across. And the game is kind of like split up for you reaching certain points. And like certain things happen, certain people in your party have certain traits, and they're just like all these little instances happen. And it's a lot of fun. Like, I can see, like, I actually really enjoyed the experience of me and my husband working together and playing it together and making decisions together and stuff. And I believe this game might be playable elsewhere, but like I said, we played it on Apple Arcade. So if people want to look into it, I think you're just going to have to search the Oregon Trail, and unfortunately there's 1,000,001 games.
It was on,
been, like,
even
redone.
got released on the Wii, apparently.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, the
I
Wii,
wonder if it's this version.
Nintendo DS, on PC, yeah, Apple. So it's kicking around.
Yeah, so like I think the game's done a lot. Like, it's been redone by certain companies. So the one that I've been playing is the Gameloft version. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's just like one of those little games that you can throw away and play. I guess you can play it alone, or like I said, like play it with someone else and make decisions together. It's kind of fun. It's kind of sad with some of the things that you kind of go through, but at the same time, like,
it's kind of cool that this dude and his two teacher friends made this game in the 70s to teach their 8th grade school kids, which is kind of cool. That they thought about making a video game to teach them, about 19th century pioneer life. So yeah, it was 1848 apparently is the year this game is based around, and it looks interesting. It's cool. I'm gonna have to give it a spin.
It's a lot of fun. Chances are you've probably seen references of I think it's like you died of dysentery, which is usually the most common reference. So this is apparently where that comes from.
Okay.
So,
yeah, no one wants dysentery, that's for sure.
No.
So I'll add that to my list. 2 games, outside of like a bit of Apex here and there. I tried to get into the REverse sort of open beta.
Yes, how'd you go?
I downloaded the game. I loaded it up, but the servers were absolutely dog's breakfast. Matchmaking issues aplenty. So I think I was a few hours late. I think they managed to sort of get some games going on that first day. But a few hours into that, Capcom came in and said, we're suspending this beta until further notice. Servers are shut down. Matchmaking is over. Sorry. We might come back to you with another crack at this multiplayer game that's obviously going to be a pack-in with Resident Evil Village. But it felt and sounds to me like this game is so undercooked. So maybe disconnect it from being a day one inclusion with Village and maybe release it in 6 months, whether it be standalone or you just release it as a free download off the back of a purchase of Resident Evil Village later this year. Get this game where it needs to be, because graphically we've made fun of it quite a bit through some of the trailers. And then the fact that they can't even have a beta when the game is out in literally like a month's time. They can't even navigate a beta with server and matchmaking problems. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a good release of this game, and it could die quickly. Like, I know it's pack-in, and that shouldn't lessen the quality of what this game could be, but yeah, for a Resident Evil truther like myself, it left me feeling a little disappointed.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Especially considering, like, I don't know, like, it's always hard to kind of, like, make a comment about, especially when it comes to servers and service struggles. Like, you kind of think if you were setting up, like, a beta and a test, you'd have some kind of understanding of what to anticipate. So, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
But
yeah, when you see a lot of these multiplayer stress tests for games from all tiers of publisher and developer going pretty well. Someone like a Capcom, you think, with the money and the technical expertise behind them, you think they'd be able to execute this accordingly, but sadly that didn't happen. And didn't get my RE-verse fix, but I did get a lot of Outriders fix again this week. So Benny and I rolled credits on the main story. So I finished the main campaign, got our closure. I still stand by that it's Gears of War meets Diablo meets Starship Troopers. That's how I'm describing this game. Anyone that says it's like Destiny, you're on crack. It's outside of some abilities and some gunplay, it's nothing like Destiny. Division, I can see some comps there, but yeah, it's Gears meets Diablo meets Starship Troopers for me. That's what I classify this game as. And I know I sort of made fun last week about sort of the lack of a story, or I didn't really find myself caring. The final act, I started to care a little bit. There was a narrative that started to hook me, and there was some cool things going on, and they went down like a big, like they heavily doubled down on like the science fiction elements of the narrative and stuff, and it started making me care and have a little bit of interest as far as what's going to play out. And there was some cool boss battles and some cool sort of reveals and stuff like that really made me go, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm listening. Finish the game, and then you've got endgame content. So after the story wraps, there's additional missions and hunts and little quests to go out and find these resources to try and bring this planet Enoch, I guess, back to normal, in air quotes, and make it more habitable for the humans that co-populate this place with you. And after you do, I think there's 15 or 16 of these sort of like pod-based search missions. There is then another like end boss that you can fight. Haven't gotten there yet. Benny and I have only done, I think, 3 of the 15 pods, but they're time-based too. So depending on how fast you can get through it, you get more rewards. So if you finish it in under 15 minutes, it's like gold tier, and you get this certain currency that you can buy the high-end end game armor sets and guns with.
yeah.
But the amount of this currency you need to buy a piece is ridiculous. Like we weren't able to finish them. I think the best we did was like 15 minutes 30. So we missed out on like the tier 1 amount of offering, got the tier 2, and it was like you got like 40 of this currency. And some of these items, like for the high end stuff, was like, you need 2,000 of these. So it's like, get fucked. Get fucked, people can fly. That money ratio does not make any sense to me as far as having to do this thing like 100 times or whatever to get enough gear. Like that's rough. That's rough. Like I don't mind a bit of grinding to get gear, but that seems a bit bananas to me. So but it's fun. We've been going back and clearing out, like there's like animal hunts where you got to go kill like a certain animal boss, or there's bounty hunts where you got to hunt and track down a bad guy and kill him, and then you get high-end gear for trading all those in. So we've just gone back and started to clean up a lot of just the random side quests and things as well now, but it's really cool. It's fun. It's fun. Like, it's not a perfect game, but I'm enjoying playing with people, and now that we've sort of maxed level, you can sort of build your character how you want it to be. So I've just turned my guy into just this bullet sponge tank, so like he never gets knocked down, can just absorb so much punishment. So when it does get hairy, when there's like 50 enemies on a screen at you at once, I'm just, sponging all this damage and staying up while Benny can do damage, or if I got to pick him up because he's been knocked down, we can sort of just keep pushing. So it's cool. It's fun.
Okay. I have to ask, because now that you guys have rolled credits, Do you feel like you've gotten value for money?
Oh, yeah.
How much they charged you for this game?
Yeah, well, because we got Game Pass boys for us, so
true.
So say if I'm looking at it retroactively and I bought this game for $90 or whatever, I'd feel I got a good experience. Like I think the campaign, it would have been. I reckon it would have been close to 30 hours when it was all said and done. It felt like my time clock could be a little off, but let's say 25 to 30 hours to roll credits, and then you've got this end game content. So for $90, $100, I wouldn't be upset about that. But you know, the game, it's not a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10. Like it's a good game. It gets a pass score, and I enjoy playing it. But the fact that it's in Game Pass is where I think it really, really doubles down on the value, where you can get a good portion of hours out of it, good fun, some memorable moments, some really, really cheesy lines. Like they really lean into some of the science fiction, like 90s machismo with some of the things that get said, and I'm all for it. Like a part of me wishes I got into this game, but at the same time, like I know why I don't like it, and I feel like any time I would play this, I'd be forcing myself to play it. So I reckon
might as well get
it.
motion sickness in Doom.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like I reckon you'd like it though. Like the cover thing, I do not go in cover at all. Like in this game now, like for the last half of the game, I was just running around shooting.
The game, it's not just the cover. It was like the clunky, like heavy feel of like playing as the character, and I don't know, like it just felt like hordes and hordes of enemies. Like that was the way the game played. Like,
can confirm that's pretty much how this game is. You go into a zone, they'll throw a big wave of enemies. You'll kill that wave. They might throw another one with a boss. You kill them, then you go to the next one.
I think that's where I also see the contrast, whereas Doom is very much like that. You enter a zone and you just get hit with bad guys and waves of bad guys. But at least in Doom, like you're just like running through there and you're punching them, you're chainsawing them. Chainsawing. But, you know, it's fast, it's instant, and it's just, like, right in there as opposed to Outriders for me personally, which just felt very slow and very drawn out and clunky, which just doesn't meet my standard.
Some parts definitely hit the nail on the head there. Like, some bosses or higher-leveled enemies are a bit slow to wear down because of that, you know, the Division sponginess that you deal with. But like it is pretty like it feels really nice when, you know, Benny would pop like a slow on everything, and then I'd just like fly up into the sky and then slam down and do the big ground smash, and then like all these other abilities are popping off, and then he's got like a crazy bullet ability going on, and then I'm using like a burn ability on the gun. And when you're seeing all this stuff like synergize at once, it's beautiful. But yeah, some of the boss fights we had where you'd burn all the trash mobs, and then the boss dude's just left, and you're shooting him for like 5 minutes straight to try and get his health down. Like it's dependent on the world tier levels. Obviously, you can scale that to give you more or less of a challenge. But yeah, there was a few times there where like he's doing next to no damage to us, and we're just sitting there shooting this guy. I was like, come on, man, fucking just die already, you know? I'm out of bullets. I gotta go get some more bullets, run over there, So that was where it got a bit like, But overall, it's fun. It's fine. I enjoy it.
The Hungry Gamers metric of it's fine.
Yeah. So it certainly gets the fine rubber stamp
of approval.
I'm just waiting. Like Resident Evil Village comes out next month, so I'm just waiting for that. So this has just been a good sort of time kill. And when you get these high end like end game items that just look like they're ripped straight from Hellraiser, like they're all demonic weapons, and you know the armor sets that you get in the end game, it just looks so cool. You feel like a gangster running around and then trying to synergize certain abilities with what you're doing. Like I like that there's some depth to how you do things as far as using gunplay or melee abilities or or your physical abilities as well. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. If you got Game Pass, definitely look at it, like, because it's not costing anything extra, and have some real fun. Just time. Because, yeah, the story mode was surprisingly long. I thought it was going to finish halfway back than it did. But, like, yeah.
You still said it only took you 20 minutes, 20 to 25.
Yeah.
It's not long.
Well, I thought it was long. For what the game is, like, in essence, like, I think that's long.
For a game that doesn't have any additional, like, multiplayer content, no other kind of, I guess you have side quests, that your timeline for story, like, campaign, is not inclusive of side quests, right?
Oh, we did some of them, not all of them. But yeah, so you got, like, and then the end game stuff. You probably got a 60-hour game, maybe more with that end game stuff. So you got a good amount of meat on the bone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very grindy, especially the back end stuff. It's very, very grindy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's fine for now. Does the job.
Fine.
Does the job. Speaking of doing the job, if you want to support us to keep us in this job we call podcasting,
Yep.
send us some support our way over at ko-fi.com/weare8bit. If you want to support us monetarily for the low price of $5 Australian a month, you can get early access to a heap of podcasts. You can also get exclusive access to Is This Thing On?, our Ko-fi exclusive podcast, as well as automatic entry into any competitions and giveaways we run through the 8-Bit Hub. If you wanted to do standalone purchases and get yourself some exclusive swag, obviously the 8-Bit coins, or the 8-Bit Founders coins, as we call them, are out and about and well invested and part of the wild now. They're popping into people's wallets and people's collections. They're an exclusive one-off run, so get in while you can, because once they're sold out, that's them gone forever. But that's $20 Australian delivered anywhere on planet Earth. So no matter where you listen to this podcast from, you order one of these Founders coins, it will get posted to you. Cannot guarantee how long it'll take in some of the more remote areas, because COVID and Australia Post and everything else like that. It's a thing. It's a thing. The world is a weird place these days, but we will post it to you and it will get to you guaranteed. And if it doesn't, we'll have some strong words with those posts and then send you another one. We'll just keep sending them till we run out or it gets in your hands, one of the two. But we've also obviously got the 8-Bit Family Portrait running at the moment. Star Wars theme this year for 2021. $50 Australian gets you your own personalized avatar, as well as the overall 8-Bit Family Portrait group shot. But the group shot will come later once it is all complete by the end of the year. But your avatar will be back to you within about 30 or so days, give or take, depending on workload. Artists, they can be tough to deal with. They work on a different calendar than most of us. But he's been pretty damn good. And we're going to share some of the first wave of videos, images this coming week, as far as what he's been up to so far, as immortalizing us within the Star Wars universe as a whole. Outside of that, our April giveaway is currently live as well. So all you need to do to enter that one is just give a rating and review of any of the 8-Bit podcasts on Apple Podcasts or your podcast player of choice, preferably Apple Podcasts if you can. Just send us a screenshot of that review, email us hello@8bit.net, or hit us up on them social DMs at weare8bit, and you can win yourself an ADG1 Audio-Technica gaming headset, an 8-Bit tee of your choosing, an 8-Bit Founders coin, and some extra swagger as well. So it should only take you a minute or so to write that review, maybe longer. Feel free to write it as long as you like. Chuck some feedback in there, whatever it is, and just screenshot, send it through to us, and you're automatically in the draw. Winner will be announced at the start of May, and then we're going to do another one for May as well. So easy way to win yourself some free swagger there. But sort of got one other little bit before we get into the news here, Miss Hart, and we'll go over here.
You've got mail.
Maybe mail's not the right choice, but this is just a bit of a response from our question of the week last week, where we were talking about the Xbox mini fridges. And so the tweet we fired out last week was, would you buy an Xbox mini fridge? And if so, what is your max price point for purchase? And the four options were hell yeah, no matter the cash, or no matter the dollar value. Yeah, but only if under 500. And that's where I said I would be. And then there's also, yeah, but only if under 250. And then the last option was, hell no, you crazy? Question mark, exclamation point. So the winner, or I guess, I don't know if you'd say the winner, but the answer here that took it out as far as this poll was over 37% of the vote went, yeah, but only if under $500. So there's some people that are hungry for an Xbox mini fridge. 12.5% of the vote was hell yeah, no matter the cash. So there's some people that are in on this fridge regardless. And 25% of the vote, hell no, you crazy. So very divisive question this week, Miss Art.
I'm genuinely surprised by how many people were like, 500's my max. 500's my max on this mini fridge. You'd have to be a big Xbox fan or like a collector, I guess. But I don't see it. I don't have the need, and I just don't see the necessity. So
yeah,
you're crazy.
Yeah, I want one. I want one.
Yeah.
But I've recorded it for permanent history though, that I said that I'd do it under 5. Oh, actually, I lied after I said under 500.
No, you lied. You said no matter, it will change. No matter what the price is, you probably will cave.
Yeah,
that was on record.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if these things get out in the wild and what the price point is. And yeah, if I can be a proud owner of an Xbox mini fridge to hold my 2 cans of Coke and French onion dip, I'm all for it, because that's all I need. Then I'll just have my Doritos right beside it. I'm good to go.
Well, looks like you're going to be fighting a few other people.
Yeah, let's go. Or we can timeshare one. Maybe we can buy one and sort of split the costs. Send it around the country.
Oh boy.
Month wouldn't be like a Simpsons situation where it's every other day. It'd be like a month or a quarter type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, logistically, we'd do our ass on freight.
Yeah, you'd spend just as much, if not more.
All right, so that brings us over to this.
This week's news headlines.
And the first bit of news was titled, Always Late But Worth the Wait. And I think that rings very true with this bit of news. So Arcane Studios have announced a delay to Deathloop, pushing the game from its planned May 21st debut back to September 14th. In a joint statement on Twitter, Deathloop game director Dinga Bakaba and art director Sebastian Mitton apologized for the delay and explained the reasoning behind it. We're committed to quality and preserving our team's ambitions for Deathloop while ensuring the health and safety of everyone at Arcane, they said. We'll be using this extra time to accomplish our goal, create a fun, stylish, and mind-bending player experience, end quote. Deathloop had originally been slated for release in 2020, but was delayed last August, with Arcane attributing the slide to difficulty adjusting to working from home in the pandemic. As the COVID-19 pandemic enters its second year, 2021 has seen a spate of high-profile game delays. In addition to Deathloop, this year alone has already seen delays for Riders Republic, New World, Gran Turismo 7, The Analog Pocket, The Next Need for Speed, The Prince of Persia Remake, Kerbal Space Program 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Outriders, and Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment's entire announced 2021 slate, which includes Hogwarts Legacy, Gotham Knights, Back for Blood, and Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So COVID strikes again, Miss Hart, to a game that you and I were both very, very excited for.
It's definitely been one of the major ones that's been sitting on our radar for quite some time since it's been announced anyway. The only sad thing was that I remember when it got pushed back, because it was definitely one of those titles that was going to be the new gen console kind of release that, we were going to play on the new gen console. So it was oh, sorry guys, we're not going to make it. We're going to have to push it to the next year. And now we're here. And now it's not we've seen a few delays where some people have kind of said it's either, hey, it's going to be a few weeks away, sorry. Or other people are just nah, it's another year. It's another year. This one, it's
It's 4 months?
Yeah, it's a few months. So it's kind of, it's kind of off-putting in the sense where it's just we were so close. And now it's whew, it's now further down the line. I'm not going to, discredit anyone for taking the extra time needed, especially for the health and safety of workers and everything. Like, more power to them. I guess it's just more like just a little tiny bit of sadness and disappointment, because I'm really keen to play this game, and we were really hit with a lot of like trailers and more information and backstory recently. So I kind of like really thought we were there. I guess that's why I'm kind of like a bit let down, because I really felt like with the information and all the trailers and all the gameplay stuff that we were being pushed very recently for this year, I'm like, yeah, cool. I didn't even expect that it was going to be delayed. So I think that's just where I'm sitting with this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm not here folded arms being upset saying boo you, Arcane, for this. Like, health and safety in this day and age is paramount. So yeah, you do what you can to keep yourself and your staff and the people around you as safe physically and mentally as possible. And the fact that they're still adjusting amidst this pandemic and changing of their workflow cycle and stuff, I get it. And 4 months sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Like, I know this year it's been very light on for big AAA releases, and it's gonna continue to be that way. Like, mentioned Resident Evil Village dropping next month. Outside of that, there like hasn't been a huge amount of big tentpole games for the first half of 2021.
I gotta say, Resident Evil's genuinely surprised me with the fact that we haven't really gotten much major pushback on that one. Like, based on what we've seen, this is an incredibly big, heavily detailed game. Like, it looks incredible, it looks stunning, and the fact that we haven't maybe received as much pushback on delays and experiencing like much difficulty in getting this game out, I'm gonna knock on wood on that one, because I definitely don't want to screw that for people, especially with it creeping up now. But yeah, I'm like, it's just interesting to see in contrast, I guess.
Yeah, it's very, very contrasting sort of studio discussions. Yeah, where Village was only announced, so was Deathloop, really. Like, Village was only announced last year, and they're moving forward, and it's rocking and rolling and coming out in 4-ish weeks' time, and they've got another showcase event planned for this week coming up, and yeah, Capcom have managed to stay ahead of that, but obviously talked earlier about the RE-verse multiplayer pack-in, which is just a dog's breakfast. So
sacrifices maybe.
Yeah, which is fair. Like, look at what they have done with The Last of Us Part 2. Like, the multiplayer on that is still not happening or not out, or there's a whole hullabaloo that we're gonna dance around later on The Last of Us. But it's disappointing, and I guess Sony would be a little bit disappointed on this, because obviously this is a timed exclusive for Sony, and the fact that it's slipping further and further through this calendar year, when it was initially announced for the back end of last year. They've got Ratchet and Clank coming up now. That's sort of one of their feathers in the cap for this year, and potentially Horizon this year. I think God of War, with the lack of news on that, it's moved to 2022 and beyond. So
yeah, definitely.
Just one of those years. This is the year of like what you're doing with Doom. It's the year of going back and playing games that you've maybe missed in your collection.
It's a good incentive. I really need it. With my Steam list, holy cow, it's massive. I need to really, really get back in there.
Yeah, those sexually suggestive games are getting very disappointed by their lack of play.
My Steam is tainted. It's absolutely tainted. I can't even look at the new releases now without it just being tense.
It could be worse, They know it's what you like.
I think it is worse. I think my Steam page is one of the worst. One day I'll take a screenshot of some of the stuff I get recommended, and I'm disappointed in Steam. I'm disappointed in myself. It's a whole rigmarole.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So the next headline, it's a little bit sort of rumor milly, but the headline is Hideo Kojima could be going to the dark side. ... And dark side I think that's interpretive depending on who you're talking to, because obviously Hideo and Kojima Productions, they've had a long-standing relationship with Sony. So the dark side is alluding to is going to be discussed here. According to a report from VentureBeat, the Death Stranding and Metal Gear Solid developer is, in quotes, in talks with Microsoft about publishing his next game, according to a source familiar with the matter. The report also suggests that the potential deal has been in the works for several weeks already, stating that Xbox chief Phil Spencer deliberately featured a statue of the Kojima Productions company mascot in the background of a recent stream as a hint towards the partnership. It's not known whether the deal has been signed yet, but VentureBeat also suggests that Kojima is the focus of a Microsoft plan to leverage Japanese talent. Spencer has previously denied reports that Xbox is turning its attention to the region in which it has historically underperformed in comparison to PlayStation. When the PS5 and Xbox Series X launched in November of 2020, Sony's new console outsold Microsoft's effort by nearly 5-1. Yeesh. Whether or not Xbox is focusing on Japanese developers, there's little denying that the potential exclusivity offered by a publishing deal with Kojima would be a significant coup for a console family that has struggled with big name exclusive in recent years and as a potent addition to the recent Bethesda acquisition. With no official announcement from either Microsoft or Kojima Productions, it's worth remembering that even if these talks did happen, there's no guarantee that an agreement will be made. It's also important to note that Death Stranding, Kojima's first game with his new studio, was a PlayStation launch exclusive. That said, the studio confirmed it was working on a new game back in October last year, with some suggestions pointing to an announcement that's not very far away. So damn, this would be a big get. Like I know we poke fun at Hideo and Death Stranding and just his, the way he makes games and the content that are in his games. Like he's a visionary. He certainly walks to the beat of his own drum. He's a very unique character, but he's got so much clout behind him that we've made fun that he could make a game where it's just someone standing there reading a newspaper for 25 hours and, he occasionally scratches himself or yawns and, it'd be like this artistic visionary masterpiece, because Kojima's attached to it. So there's certainly some flex there that Microsoft could just inherit from having Kojima, at least for one game, as their own like IP, Sony, you're out. It's just Xbox only or Microsoft only. Like that could be huge. Do you reckon?
It could be massive. Like I've already seen like a lot of disgruntled PlayStation fans talking about like, oh, it's definitely not true. There's no way he would abandon PlayStation. If he does this, then I'm never gonna play a blah 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 game. You know how they get. You know how
people
the kids
are ridiculous, Miss Hart.
Yeah, they're a bit funny. It'd be interesting to see if maybe he goes down a route where he will have selective titles on certain consoles, because I could see it being like not having like a dedication to a specific console for an entire franchise or for the entire creation of the company, like every title that's created. I could see it being more like Death Stranding is a PlayStation exclusive, this new game is going to be an Xbox exclusive. So I feel like Kojima has that pull power where he can pretty much decide his deals.
Yeah.
So to say that he's signed up for Xbox, like to Xbox for life, I'd say not. I would say that like he definitely had a discussion. I want to know where Microsoft where their money comes from.
Yeah, it's a lot of Surfaces getting sold.
Yeah, like these, like whether this is true or not or whatever's happening in between. If the whole thing is that they're trying to suggest that Microsoft has bought up the actual company.
God, can you imagine if they bought Kojima Productions? But it's like it's always interesting. I feel like Phil Spencer's sort of walking around a lot of these junkets these days and like doing this.
What are you selling?
And he's like, I'm taking the studios, like.
What are you buying?
He's got the trench coat. And it's like, which check do you want? You want 10 billion? You want 1 billion? You want 500 million? What's your valuation out here?
But I feel like with Kojima, and like this is only my very bare bones knowledge on kind of like what happened with him and Metal Gear, and then him leaving, having to create his own company, and the falling out, based on very like loose information that I kind of took in regards to it was that he was just a big money spender. Like
Yeah,
when
he
it came
was
to
blowing
developing these
budgets,
games,
yeah.
he blew budgets. So I feel like a company taking him on really has to look at that and see like this is an investment not only for the name and everything that comes with it, but also for what he's been known for. So
yeah, I can't help but picture like him working in the studio, and I think back to that Simpsons episode where Barney like gets like his Yoko Ono equivalent, you know, and they're recording that track and it's like number eight and it's burp, and then you know I feel that it would just be this crazy situation where like money means nothing to this guy, you know. He's like, I'm feeling inspired today, but I could really take my thought processes to the next level if I got to study an elephant in real time. And then he'd call someone, fly an elephant over to my house, you know, like.
To be fair, like I know that a lot of people make that connection in regards to him having that side where he clearly wanted to be a director. Like he definitely wanted to make movies and tell stories. But I believe some of the budgeting issues also came from him trying to be actually innovative in technology as well, in gameplay and that. So he was definitely testing a lot of things, a lot of trial and error, and then being completely dedicated to the cause of like, no, we need to get this right no matter how much it costs. So I appreciate and respect anyone that is trying to like set the bar like higher in the player and user experience and also accessibility too. So anyone that's trying to better that definitely deserves like a bit of cash and a bit of a nod. But yeah, he is a bit eccentric when it comes to trying to convey a story.
Yeah, he's like the Willy Wonka of the video game world, and I love it. Like,
oh god, that was a visual. Kojima in a purple suit and top hat.
Yeah, he's such a unique person, and he's a visionary. And yeah, like I think you sort of like summarized it really well early in the piece there, where it was like there's a lot of risk with getting in bed with Kojima and Kojima Productions, because you might give them this bucket of money, but by the end of it, he might have needed 5 buckets of money to get to where this journey is ending. But the payoff could be there because people just flock to his content. And the games like Death Stranding, I thought it was all right. Like it's not this life-altering experience that some people have had that I didn't have. Like it's good for what it is, and it's cool that he's starting to bleed Hollywood actors and mainstream media into this melting pot that is Kojima Productions. So maybe this next game could be more of that. And I'm with you. Like I think he'll start making films eventually. Like Death Stranding, in a way, is, and like even you go back to some of the old Metal Gear games, like the cutscenes, like there's more cutscenes than gameplay in some of these games he's making. So he's already kind of doing it and just cutting them together in this mixed medium. But I still think, like if Xbox could snag the next Kojima Productions game as an exclusive, like that's a big old get. Like, yeah, that's a big flex. Like there's a lot of flexing and a lot of sort of posturing going around the industry at the moment. And it would be nothing but a positive move for Microsoft to snag Kojima at least for one game.
Yeah, and just in regards to the whole like Microsoft buying this, buying that, Game Pass this, Game Pass that, day one. I've seen a change. I've seen a lot of people kind of saying, you know what, I might have to buy an Xbox. And that's all they need. I think that's what they want, right? That's all they're just trying to grab those few extra people who maybe were sitting on the fence. And with PlayStation still being scarce, I think. Like,
yeah, they're still hard to come by, yeah.
So if Microsoft is out there and they've still got the units and they're saying, hey, we are becoming quite the team to beat, people might just go, well, F it. I screw the PlayStation. I'll just get an Xbox now.
Yeah, so it's an interesting time, that's for sure. And the next article certainly throws some more interesting discussion our way. So this one's going to be a little bit different, listeners, because this is still very much an ongoing and an evolving piece. So Jason Schreier is at it again. He's dropped an article these past several hours. He dropped it overnight.
Yeah.
I was just going to sleep when this thing hit. So
and I woke up to it.
yeah. So over on Bloomberg, I'd recommend anyone just jump on Google or jump on Twitter and just search, Jason Schreier Bloomberg or Jason Schreier Sony, and go read the article. We thought about going through it sort of granular, but it is big and it's dense and there's a lot of information there. So we're sort of just going to sort of freeform discussion a little bit, throw our thoughts around and unpack what we can in a way that hopefully is the best for the podcast and for your listeners. So in essence, it's an article that traces back a couple of years ago, focusing on the Visual Arts Service Group. So what they are in essence is a studio that was created out of San Diego, and they were sort of like the cleanup crew for Sony. Like, Sony Studios be making games, Naughty Dog and co. And these guys would come in sort of in the last act of the development cycle and give it the final polish or do some increases to the animation. So they were like the unheralded closers for games. Like they were just coming in, doing their thing, making these games sing, and then moving on. And they pitched to Sony that they wanted to sort of almost do a reboot of The Last of Us, the original. And obviously, we've got Last of Us Remastered already existing, and they got to work on this Last of Us 1 reboot that they also wanted to add more info to make it almost like there'd be prequel content in the game and everything else. And they were bubbling along, but Sony were very non-committal about it the entire time, and then shifted this across to Naughty Dog and took the responsibility away from Visual Arts Service Group, where they were almost becoming their own studio and making this independent game, and said, no, you're the cleaners again, back in your box. And made the various people within let's just say VASG very upset. A lot of the sort of studio heads have since left and moved on, and this group now is a skeleton crew of people from what it used to be. I think it was a team of about 30, and I think there's maybe half a dozen left or so now, because there was fear that they were going to just get gobbled up and chewed up, spat out, and not really be able to flex any creative muscle. So outside of that, the article then also goes into talking about Sony Bend Studio, which is another Sony-owned studio. They obviously did Days Gone, which had some good commercial success, and they pitched a sequel, which was unsuccessful. They said, yep, sorry, it's not happening. The game was profitable, but the development was pretty lengthy. Critical reception was mixed, so Days Gone 2 was not seen as a viable option. So sorry, Bend, it's not happening. And so what they've done with Sony Bend is taken them from like a first-party studio making great games to now riding shotgun with Naughty Dog making a multiplayer game, which has also then upset various studio heads in Bend, with some of the developers and the heads leaving there as well. So a great studio like Sony Bend, they did Siphon Filter, which is still one of my favorite third-person action-y games from any era. And I still can't understand why they haven't made a new one for this day and age. But Bend aren't happy. A lot of studios aren't happy because it feels like Sony are very much playing favorites with like Naughty Dog and say Sony Santa Monica. They're their two crown jewels, don't get me wrong. But all these other studios they're very much getting forced, like it's square peg round hole sort of stuff, it feels like, where they're like, hey, we want to make these games, we've got all these ideas and whatever, and Sony like, no, you go help over there. You're the backup here, you're supporting these guys, do what they say. And even Bend were worried that they were going to get acquired and almost become like Naughty Dog North, I think was the working title, where they were going to get just gobbled up and become just another arm of Naughty Dog. So yeah, Sony, like Bloomberg, the article on Bloomberg by Jason Schreier, it's sort of all these developments, it's like Sony's just obsessed with blockbusters, which is sort of stirring a lot of unrest within the PlayStation studios. A lot of people are jumping ship. A lot of people are second guessing. A lot of people are like, fuck, we need to maybe get out of here because our creative influence is getting stomped and we're just clipping a ticket here and being forced to follow the piper, you know? So it's sketchy and it's worrisome. And yeah, a lot of people in broader games media not singing a positive tune at the moment, Miss Hart. What do you think? Like, hopefully that summarized everything.
I think,
in a roundabout kind of way.
Pretty good summary, right? Like, it's like you mentioned, the article is definitely more in depth. There's a lot more to it. So, obviously, go read it. Make your opinions based on what you read and how you interpret it. The main thing for me, and as everyone knows, I didn't really enjoy The Last of Us. So I haven't really, played the recent one. I haven't really gone through Last of Us since that first initial gameplay. But what genuinely surprised me was everyone's reaction to saying we don't need a remake.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
I'm with you.
Stop.
I'm with the remaster was great. And it still holds up. Like, you could plug that remaster in today and play it and enjoy it, but the fact that they're throwing so much time and money and resources into remaking The Last of Us again, like, it's a very weird decision and it feels very un-Sony almost to me that they're doing that. But hey,
yeah, like I can see why. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, I could see like bringing it to a graphically accurate for the generation of the console and just like completely just bringing it up to that level. But then at the same sense, like I said, I haven't played it since the initial playthrough. A lot of people have said, like you, that the remastered was fine. Like it was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. And then a lot of people don't want this time that's going to be invested into doing this, like this remaster, this like why waste the time making this when you guys could be doing something else? Also attaching Naughty Dog to it again. And Naughty Dog has already got something else that they're working on, right? Yeah,
like they mentioned in the article that they're working on a multiplayer game, which I think we alluded to a little bit earlier. Like, that could be the Last of Us multiplayer. Maybe it's going to be the standalone pocket of that. But yeah, it's just weird to me, Miss Hart, what's going on here with Sony at the moment.
Yeah, a little peculiar to then direct a game to a company. Sorry, they got a lot of flack for crunch and pushing their team to their limits and doing a lot of little dodgy kind of things, as reported, obviously. So it's a little sketchy of that, unloading work onto a group that has been reported for doing that sort of thing. And then also Days Gone too, just kind of getting like that, nope, sorry. Days Gone was one of those interesting titles where it definitely seemed like it was going to be one of the major pillars for Sony. Yep. They looked like that they were really pushing that one hard. Me personally, I didn't play it. I had no interest in playing it. And from what I remember seeing on social media, it felt like it got a pretty dull reaction from a lot of people. Like, Jono said that he enjoyed it. He said he actually really liked playing it, and he said that he hoped that although like it probably wasn't at a higher tier, there was anticipation of the second game coming out and then being even better. Like it's definitely set up the opportunity for a second title coming out and being even better. So yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed too, if especially because it seems like it was being eluded. Like, it seemed like it almost was expected, and then to be kind of like just shelved.
It's very surprising, yeah, because like that game, the ingredients that game laid out were there to, for a sequel to make something really great out of. You can make a really tasty cake out of what they sort of laid in the foundation with the first one. I enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't one of the best games I played in, when was it? Was it 2019?
That sounds about right. That feels about right, yeah.
Yeah, like whenever it was, the last couple of years. Sorry, bend on that. But I thought it was fun. The characters were cool, and they sort of took some time to sort of flesh out the characters and the narrative and the world, and the whole biker gang bounty hunter in a zombie-filled world was, it's a bit funny, but like had some weight, and there was some good drama and some good big narrative arcs and some big moments, and it was cool. But the fact that they just, sort of said to Ben, nah, we're done listening to your pitch. This game sold well, but it just doesn't hit all the notes we're looking for. Get back in the queue, We'll call you. We'll call you when we've got something we want out of you, For now, go run tech support over there with this other studio. Like, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough because Bend is a very long time studio with a lot of great people working there, and the fact that they just got put to the back of the line, and instead they're focusing on this Last of Us remake. It's just very weird. It's very tone deaf to me.
Yeah, and as we've previously mentioned, just with the story with Microsoft and Microsoft doing these big moves and these big acquisitions, I'm assuming this is going to make a lot of Sony fans very nervous, especially when you're seeing the company that you dedicate a lot of time to, in contrast to competitor. I say that very lightly. Making these big moves, and then you're seeing your studio sitting there going like, we could make new games, or we could just remaster what we've done, because I think that the general consensus that a lot of people are feeling is the reason why they're focusing on the remastered is it's just money. They think it's like instant money bags. Like, it's just instant money. Like, they knew that the game did well. Everyone loves the game. Let's just zhuzh it up and bring it out again for more money. And I think that's the big concern. It
makes sense too, like, sort of thinking, bigger picture. The Last of Us TV show is going into development now, so if they can release this nice shiny game, or maybe do a double pack where you get Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2 for X price, which is available day one with episode 1 of this on HBO, like, it feels like that's probably the broader play here, because I think they did similar. They did the Ratchet remake alongside the movie release of that, so maybe this is just a trend that Sony's starting to do. Hell, maybe we might get an Uncharted remake that's happening in the back end when the movie drops next year too. Like,
whenever it wants to drop.
Yeah, like maybe that's sort of the focus here that we're sort of missing a little bit, is that
it feels unnecessary when you contrast it to The Witcher, right? Where everyone liked Witcher, everyone thought Witcher 3 was fantastic, everyone enjoyed playing the game, and the additional story DLC, Blood, what was it called?
Blood and Wine.
Blood, yeah. And then we knew that we were going to get this TV series, and I don't recall them doing anything in regards to trying to push the game out for, for the release of the TV series. And I don't think they still have. I think
there's been no
busy.
remake or add-in or
trying to fix a game.
Yeah, Henry Cavill skin that you could use. It was just, the game's out, it sold well, it reviewed great. It's just Gwent time. That's all they've been sort of throwing money at, is Gwent, and obviously Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, like that's probably, that maybe they did want to do something and they were just a little too busy.
Yeah.
But just in saying that, it's not necessary. Like, I'm sure a lot of people watched the TV series and was happy to load the game as it was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange what's going on here. But I think there is certainly some parallel movements here. They're doing this on the back of the TV show coming out, and if they can have this game come out and it appeals to this HBO audience that might not have played the game but watches this show and loves it, they'll want to play the best version of the game, even though the remaster is great and you could play that and still love it, and it's still aesthetically great, and the narrative is still one of the best in gaming history. But yeah, just Sony trying to make more money, going back to that well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of water left in that well, so I guess why wouldn't you? Because people will probably buy it. Like, I wouldn't buy it at launch, but if I could get it for a steal and like in a couple, like 2 years down the line, and want to play through number 1 again, if I can play it with PS5 fidelity attached to it, then yeah, cool. But it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a difficult time, especially like when you, like even you said, like one of their key titles, like God of War, is definitely going to be pushed back. Like maybe they're just sitting there trying to fill some gaps. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, go head over to Bloomberg and read Jason Schreier's article, because it's very in depth and it covers a lot of ground, and some of the quotes that he's got in there and just some of the facts and history about what's going on there. It's very interesting to read, and it feels like there's a bit of discourse going on over at Sony. We hope it all gets sorted out and people can keep making the games they want to make, but it sounds like there's a bit of a shift in the back end as far as Sony's focus and putting the stop to some flexibility and pitch ideas in there, which sucks because I'd play the heck out of a Days Gone too. But anyway, it's not my money, it's not my company, so we just comment on it. So you know,
you're not Mr. PlayStation.
I am not, but I got my PlayStation back finally. It's back.
Oh, yes, and we saw your pictures online.
Heckin' yeah! So yeah, shout out to Tag Mods, or shout out to Ethan at Tag Mods, I should say. He returned my PlayStation 5 in all its glory. It's very Horizon Zero Dawn inspired. Mm-hmm. And it looks like, rose-colored glasses off because this is my house, this is my lounge room. It blends in and works so well with my aesthetic in my lounge room, like the wood and the taxidermy and the plants and all that. It just looks like it should be there, and it's so great. It looks so much better than just the big obtrusive white and black PlayStation that was there beforehand. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and she's a beaut. Haven't turned it on, but it looks great on my shelf.
Oh, as we talked about with Sony titles at the stage, you probably might be turning it on for quite a bit.
Yes, but I'm going to turn this soundbite button on though.
Tweet of the week.
And this one comes via @JedShepherd. And this tweet was fired out into the internet on April the 8th. And it reads, excited to announce that I'm making a real-time, in caps, live-action, in caps, horror video game with creature design by Slimy Swamp Ghost and made by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. It's going to be released by Limited Run Games and starring Haley, Gemma, Emma, Radina, and Caroline. They can tell you all about it. And then on the back end of that, there's like a 1.5-minute video talking about this game that they're making called Ghosts. It is currently up on Kickstarter to be funded. They've got a goal of $296,000. They're currently at 95,000 with 883 backers at time of recording here. But it's unique. It's very interesting. So, we're still trying to wrap our heads around this, Miss Hart.
Yeah, because it's a little bit gimmicky because they've essentially got a time limit on when you can play, essentially. You can only play at 10, was it?
Yep, 10 p.m. That's
PM?
irrespective of time zone. So 10 p.m. your time. So it's going to be based off your PC. I'm assuming it'd be on PC. I don't know what other platforms this game could end up on, but it's going to be based off your PC's time clock of 10 p.m. You can only fire up Ghosts at 10 p.m. to play, but what that means in essence, we don't know. Is it episodic? Yeah. After 11 p.m., can you no longer play, or can you play?
What hours does it clock off on? This is obviously early stages, but it definitely piqued my interest. I'm like, this seems cool. I always love it when people take the horror gaming franchise and add a new spin on it, because we all know that sometimes horror games can get a bit stagnant and lose their scare factor. So
yeah, and we don't see many FMV games anymore. So it's cool. It's cool. It's got a bit of a nostalgia feel to it for me, where it feels like we're going back to, remember, we've talked about it on the pod a few times, Nightmare and chucking the tapes on and playing board games, and it plays stuff like that. It's
Night Trap. This was a bit of the angle, and I'm pretty certain in that trailer they actually take a dig at Corey Haim. I believe he was in Double Switch, which was another FMV game, a favorite of mine, mind you. But yeah, I love it. I love these. I've always loved FMV video games. I think they always, especially in the horror segment, I think they just add another extra element, if done right, of fear.
Yeah.
If they're done right. If it looks cheap, then it could, ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm having a look at their tiers. Maybe let's kickstart this sucker, Miss Hart.
You want to kickstart it?
Here we go. Sorry, I should have just read the tiers. So, it looks like it's coming out on at least Nintendo Switch and PlayStation of all platforms. So, they're the two platforms that are listed in their pledge tiers at the moment. And you can get a physical copy of the game. It's slated to come out February next year. So they're turning this around fairly quick. And I guess when you are making an FMV-based game, it would take a lot less time to create because you're not doing animation, stuff like that. Obviously, they'll put some special effects in post. But yeah, it's interesting and probably should have led off. So Jed Shepard, he wrote and directed Host, which is a little film that came out last year on Shudder. And it's a film that was sort of shot entirely over a Zoom call where like a group of friends get together on a Zoom call and get like a psychic in, and they do they try and connect with spirits, and then it escalates from there. Forbes, Dread Central called it the scariest movie of the last decade. I deny that 1,000,000%. It is a good movie. There's some good jumps in it, but there's much scarier shit out there. But it's a good watch. I think it went for about 70 minutes. So it's a tight runtime.
I didn't watch it.
It's worth a watch. It starts a bit ho-hum, but it really builds. And it was unique.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to watch that movie. I'm actually really bad at catching up on genuine like horror movies and stuff like that. Just talking about like successful FMV horror games. I've been meaning to mention it. There's one that's called At Dead of Night, and it's actually done its circuit in the horror game YouTube kind of groups that they've done it, and there's like a lot of playthroughs, and I feel like that one does it right. A lot of jump scares, doesn't look too cheap. Acting is done relatively well. So if it's something that, if you enjoy FMVs, you enjoy horror games, you like a good jump scare, the game is called At Dead of Night.
At Dead of Night.
Yeah, give that one a look. Okay,
I'll give it a look. I love a good scary game. Sadly, their highest tier called The Criminal. It's probably a bit out of our price range. £8,000, so 14,000 Australian.
Criminal.
But we could get our voice featured in the game if we did that. But
I don't think anyone wants that.
Yeah, but we could buy in at say the brain tier, and we can get a physical copy of the game, get our name in the game credits, exclusive T-shirt. That's fair. $100.
You want to split a T-shirt?
We can split a T. Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that, but we'll check that out. But yeah, check out Ghosts on Kickstarter, or just follow at Jed Shepard on Twitter, and you can see what they're up to there. But it's cool that I like seeing people do things differently in the creative art space. And an FMV based video game where you can only play from 10 p.m. I'm very intrigued by that. But on the Nintendo Switch or the PlayStation, you just adjust your clock. If you don't want to wait and play it over nighttime, just get into the time and date settings and change that. If you're playing during the day and you want to have the light, maybe that's the thing, because it's the dark, it's evening, it's more ominous. So maybe it's going to be a mood-based thing like that, where they want you playing of an evening.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it links. Obviously, there's a reason.
Yeah, but we'll find more. Check it out. Ghosts on Kickstarter or at Jed Shepard for more information. All right, Miss Hart, last part of the potty.
New releases and events.
All right, so we're talking what's happening between Monday the 12th, which you would be now listening to episode 236 of The Hungry Gamers, right through to Sunday the 18th of April. Tuesday the 13th, we'll see the latest episode of Is This Thing On, dropping exclusively over at kofi.com/We8bit. Wednesday the 14th sees Comedy Rewind making its way into your ears again, this time with Napoleon Dynamite as the featured film for Comedy Rewind-based discussions. I wonder who's eating their damn ham while listening to that one. I love ham, by the way. Honey ham, Don's Honey Ham, chef's kiss. All right, Thursday the 15th, Ashwalkers makes its way to PC, which is an interesting looking little horror game that I might pick up and see how that goes. Oh. Friday the 16th / Thursday the 15th for non-Australian based or non-AU based time zoners. That is when the next Resident Evil Showcase airs. So at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, it will be dropping exclusively ran and promoted through IGN. So you can watch it through the IGN website, through their Twitch, YouTube, all their platforms. So you want to watch this Resident Evil Showcase, you need to watch it through one of the IGN hubs for Thursday evening or Friday morning Australian. I'm loving that it's 8 a.m. Australian. That's a time I can get behind. Like these 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. starts, get out of here. But 8 o'clock, I'm down with this. This is perfect for
Pretty
me.
respectable, yeah.
I'll be technically on the work clock close to that time too, but you know what?
It's a YouTube window.
Multitask, baby. And then obviously Friday evening, we'll see the 5th episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropping, as well as the 6th episode of Invincible dropping on Disney Plus and Amazon/Prime. But yeah, nothing really happening next weekend. Anything you want to highlight, Miss Hart? Mortal Kombat was meant to be coming out this week too, but it's been kicked another week.
That's what I was going to say. I'm pretty certain Mortal Kombat was on my radar. More stuff that's actually come out for that. We were listening to the official theme song attached.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of vibed out to that. I also want to give a mention that we're seeing a lot more of Cabal, one of my favorite characters
he's your boy.
in the game. He looks good. He actually looks good. I'm genuinely surprised because at the start, they didn't really show anything of him. Like, I think they showed the back of him maybe for like a split second, but we're getting more and more and more of him. And he looks actually really good. So I'm pretty excited.
He does look
I'm
good.
ready for disappointment. I'm ready to be let down.
He does look good, and I'm happy for that because I was going to ask you because I know he's your favy, and the fact that he's starting to get showcased and highlighted more and more, and you're happy about it, makes me happy because I know you love this franchise and you love the OG film. But I'm keen to see how this battle plays out with Liu and Cabal in the movie. I'm excited to watch this. It sucks that it's not out this week, but a week delay, it's okay.
I'm so mad because Boss Logic posted the big like picture for the poster for IMAX. And then I just like a little single tear rolled down my eye realizing that I won't get to experience this in IMAX. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it in IMAX. I'm just going to watch it at event cinemas in like VMAX.
Do it for me. Do it for your pal Ali.
IMAX is like it's far away from it's 30 minutes. 30 minutes. But when the other cinema's 5 minutes,
fine.
Yeah, it's just down the road. So I'm going to get some VMAX.
Expensive.
Taking my mama. My mum and I are going to go watch Mortal Kombat. That's like one of the movies that sort of we share a love for. Like we watched that together when I was a kiddo, and the second she heard about it, she texted me and she's like, "You better be watching this with me when it comes out." I'm like, "Of course, Mum. We're going to check it out." Yeah, so it looks all right. I'm keen. I'm excited for this movie. And I think it's gonna do not only the franchise good and pay a lot of respect and homage to these characters, but I think it's going to be a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
And very violent.
Even if it's cheesy, I just hope it has that, if it's on that cheese bad factor, I just hope it's on the same level as the original movie where I can appreciate that. But like I said, I'm ready to be disappointed.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, Miss Hart. But you'll be watching this from the comfort of your own home, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's dropping day one. As the new world is with films? Yeah,
the dates are really weird whenever I try to look them up because it seems like there's like a separate date for USA, the US release.
Don't know. I just know that this next weekend coming, I'm not watching Mortal Kombat. It's the week after now. But hey, could be worse. Could be worse. I can watch plenty of other things and do plenty of other things between now and then. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of episode 236 of The Hungry Gamers. Did you want to say anything else before we maybe shut this sucker down for another week?
Making spag bowl.
Oh, yes. What kind of sketty you use for it?
What do you mean?
Like, do you use like just normal spaghetti, or do you use like fettuccine, or do you use like penne?
No, it's a spag bowl. You use some spaghetti.
Yeah, but you can mix it up.
You can't take the you can it's the spag spaghetti. So you can't take the spaghetti pasta out of spag.
Then you could just say make them bowl.
Eat too much and you will make bowl.
Penny bowl. I love pasta. I love Italian food. I love pasta. I love carbs. And I love tomato-based, like sauce-based pasta stuff. That's my, that and like a pesto, they're sort of my go-to for pastas.
I'm gonna hold this out a bit. Full disclaimer to everyone listening. After last week's episode, Brendan and I sat on the Pizza Hut menu of Australia
Yes.
for the longest time.
It's like half
Which
an
then
hour.
changed to Brendan ordering Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza, where it had, what was it, like ranch?
It was mutant ranch
Green?
sauce, yeah.
Yeah.
Mutant ranch sauce. And it was really good.
Genuinely surprised.
Yeah, it was a
Genuinely
pepperoni pizza with
surprised.
like a green mutant ranch sauce drizzle over the top. And it was the best because like it was about this time last week. Like
Yeah.
I had Pizza Hut pizza in my hands just after 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it was the best. But then
No
it knocked me
judging.
out. I ate this pizza and I fell asleep on the couch with the dogs, and I woke up 2.5 hours later in such a pizza coma haze, and I was just
The best
wrecked for the
kind.
rest of the day.
The best kind. But yeah, like we went through pizzas. I realized that Pizza Hut sold like pastas and everything. It was a journey.
And wings.
I,
They do wings too.
you know how I feel about wings. But there's lasagnas and as well, pasta bakes, and you said they're really good. So
They are good. Maybe I'm going to order Pizza Hut again today.
oh no.
Fucking let's go. I was
Sorry,
already thinking about
listeners.
taking a nap later, so now I can just expedite that process with some pizza and it'll knock me out
We
straight
gotta-
away.
Get that Pizza Hut endorsement.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty.
I don't even know what the Pizza Hut slogan is these days. I know. Oh, it's no, you can't out
Can't
pizza the Hut, right?
The Hut.
You can't out pizza the Hut?
Oh, that's it.
You
you
can't
can't
out-hut
Jabba
the
the
Hut.
Hut.
Jabba can out Hut the Hut. All right, AP Nation. That's it from us for another week. Thanks for stopping on by. Rate, review, subscribe. But until next time, much love
And stay hungry.
and saucy.
Pizza.
Mutant
You've
sauce.
been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
I remember getting my heart broken too, because you told me who my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character was, and his pizza was Meat Lovers. And
That's
I was
right.
so sad.
Yeah, that's right. But same with me. Like Michelangelo, he was the Hawaiian boy. So, yeah. That's why you should never meet your
Sad.
heroes.
Meat.
God, pizza's the best.